There we go, it's sliding better now. So my name is Rhonda Fawcett. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Matamata, New Zealand. And I'm teaching you this card today using metric measurements. If you want to know how to do it in inches, you can go and visit stampwithjoy.co.uk and she has the measurements all in inches for you. So you need an A4 piece of card, or you actually need for the base, because there's 3 tiers. You've got the first one at the front there, second tier and third tier. You will need 1.5 pieces of Whisper White card. So start off with your first tier, and you're going to put in the trimmer in, I'm going to turn it around this way. You're going to put it in the trimmer in portrait position, and you're going to trim the whole length of the card at 11 centimeters. So that's your first tier, 11 centimeters times whatever that is, 29.8 I think it is centimeters. And then your second one, you're going to trim at 26 centimeters times 8 centimeters. And then you are going to need, for the third tier, a square, which is 7.8 centimeters square, and you're going to need 2 little pieces like this for the sliding mechanism. I've got all the measurements written down here for you, and I'll also put them up on my blog. So once you have cut your pieces out, you'll need to score them. This big piece here will be scored at 9.9 centimeters and 19.8, and I have got one that I have pre-scored, and I have done the pencil marks so that you can see where I've actually made my score at 9.9 and 19.8. And then at one end, one section, you will put tape right along the edge of one section. So the first section where it's scored has a tape at one end, middle section is empty. Third section is where we're going to be cutting our slits to make the triple tier card for the sliding mechanism. So if you measure 2.5 centimeters from this score line here and draw a little pencil mark, and 2.5 centimeters from this edge and do a little pencil mark, then you're going to be putting it in the trimmer, and I will show you on this. I've already actually pre-cut this one, you'll probably see the slit marks, but if you put it in the trimmer and line up the pencil mark with the cutting groove, and you will start cutting you at 1.5 centimeters. So put your blade and press down at 1.5, and you are going to cut down there until you get to 7.6 centimeters, and then lift it up, and then move your card along to the next pencil where you've done your next pencil mark. Start cutting at 1.5 and then lift it up when you get to 7.6, and then you get those 2 slits there that your mechanism is going to slide through. So you put your mechanism through the front like that, so it's flat at the front, and at the back you've got these 2 little ends poking up. Just fold those ends over like that, bring it back to the front, and you're going to do the same with this one, with the second tier. The second tier we're going to cut still 2.5 from the edge, from the fold line, and we're going to cut down from 1 centimeter and stop cutting at 6.3, and same with this 2.5 from that edge. Start cutting at 1 centimeter and stop cutting at 6.3, and then thread your sliding piece in, turn it over to the back and fold the edges over, put tape across there. Now you don't want tape to go over that cut line that you've made, because otherwise it won't slide, and we need that to be able to slide up and down. Right, so I just put tape on this one here as well. Just get my scissors and trim this a little bit off because I don't want it to cover that slit where it's going to be sliding up and down. And then we're going to start putting the tiers together. So we need to start with the second tier, the middle one, and we make sure the sliding mechanism is down to the bottom. Peel off the tape. This is where you need fingernails, and put the square on, and I'm just putting it slightly above the edge there, just so that it's lined up, well, it's almost actually lined up with the card, but I just want the same width at each side and the bottom. Press that down there. Now you're going to fold this card in on that fold line. There's your mechanism, the back of it there. We don't need to do anything with that. We've already got tape on this other side here, so we're going to fold this up, and that will cover our sliding mechanism. Now if I lift this up, you'll see that there's layers in here. This is a smooth layer. Here's all the layers with the mechanism in. You can see there's more of them there, and that's the front. So we want the layers with the mechanism to be going face down on the next one. So this is now our top layer, the tier 1. Make sure your mechanism is down to the bottom of those slits that we made. Peel off your tape. Remember, this with all the mechanism is going face down. So again, just line it up with the top of the card there. Press it down on where your tape is. Fold your card up along those fold lines. I'm going to cover that mechanism. So along that fold line. Now we'll just get the tiers and start pulling them up. Okay, so this is the front of your card. Now to decorate it. So I have got these pieces here, and you'll notice on the measurements that I gave you right at the beginning that I told you the measurements also for the Balmy Blue mats. So you've got a Balmy Blue mat there, one that goes in here, and it just, you can, once it's all taped together and stamped and decorated, you can just slot it in and then slot that one in there. I'll just show you on the finished card so you can see how to do this. So stamp your fish on the white card, the smallest piece, and colour it with blends. Stamp your fisherman, and the Have a Lucky Day was from Itty Bitty Greetings. And then this banner across here, I used some DSP 3.5 centimetres wide and a strip of white card 2.5 centimetres wide. To put the burlap ribbon on, what I did was I stapled it, you can see there, but I stapled it to the white card first before I put my Balmy Blue piece with the fish on and the white piece with the fish on. So I actually cut this because this is quite a thick ribbon, and it's actually hard to, it makes it real bulky if you fold it over. So what I did is I cut on an angle, if you can imagine underneath there, cut that burlap ribbon on an angle and cut this other one and butted up against it so they're sitting next to each other, they're not actually overlapping. It's actually two separate pieces of burlap ribbon. It was about 11 centimeters long altogether, cut in half and then angled one like that on that angle, so the other one could just slide in against it without making it too bulky. And then I just stamped on an extra piece of Whisperite card the hook, coloured it in with blends, the hat, that's on dimensionals. I cut 2 of these out, one in Pear Pizzazz, and I've actually cut out that big long leaf out of the Pear Pizzazz one. I just made it shorter. The bulrushes I coloured with Early Espresso pen, and the basket cut out and done with blends, and the fish in 3 different colours. I think they were crumb cake, smoky slate and grey granite. Now the basket is actually, I don't know if you can see, it's actually in 3 pieces because this one is sort of raised up a little bit. So how I made that is I actually cut 2 basket pieces out. So I cut one out, glued the fish on. I've actually just done a few little lines with my Early Espresso pen just to give it a little bit of interest around the rim of the basket there. The second basket I cut out, I cut the lid off, and then I put this lid, I put the basket bottom over top of those fish, and I turned the lid and put it upside down so it makes an open basket lid like that, and it looks like the fish are inside the basket. So I hope that tip is a good little tip for you there. I've just left my fish's eyes in. I just put some tape on the back and stuck the eyes back in. But yes, other than that, it's a pretty simple card to make. Hope you enjoyed that. I've got another example here using the Animal Art outing stamp set that I made a few months ago. And feel free to leave a comment and let me know how I did on my first ever video. Thanks for watching.